G'day viewers, Peter here. How are they hanging? New thing to play with today is, I don't ask for these things, but it just sort of happens. I've got this Bolens mulching mower. Now it is, if you look carefully, it is in fact made in the USA. So it's an American lawnmower imported into Australia. I've already taken the covers off. I just put it back to show you. And the covers said, I think, 1992. So I'm going to guess that's the motor was built in 1992. So I'm guessing the mower is about 1993. And this is not mine. This is my brother-in-law, Brian. Hell of a nice bloke, actually. He's been very good to my sister and to my nieces and nephews. So I'm happy to fix it for him, or if I can fix it. He tells me it's been stored for 20 years because he was mowing a vacant block of land and I think he hit a rock and the shaft is bent. I'd be surprised if the shaft is bent, so I'm hoping it's just the blade. Because it's a mulching mower, there is a bit of technology in the shape of the deck and the shape of the blade. If I can do this one-handed, I'll try and... if you can see, the shape of the deck is pretty much almost like a toroidal sort of shape. So there's not much in there, but can you see... Hang on, I'm trying to get some sort of reference. Now, I think the blade is bent or twisted, or maybe the shaft is bent, but it is supposed to be a fairly peculiar shape because it is a mulching mower. I'm not sure if I'm better in the shadow. Maybe if I... so can you see that? That is the shape of the blade. I can't really test if the shaft is bent because it's got this lever operated brake on the flywheel. So this is a new project. I'll fuck around with it and see what we know. Okay, so I'm still working on Brian's Bolens mulching mower. I don't know how long these were available in Australia, but I've just undone the main jet and not expecting terribly... Oh God, look at that. Can you see in there? The fuel's gone all gummy. What's the jet like? The jet is no better. That's all gummy. So we'll need a bit of carb cleaner in there. The float is pretty dirty. I question that the needle and seat is working. The choke I've freed up just with my hands. Now this is an American mower, so it's got 1, 2, 3, 4 adjustable wheels. I don't know why they do the height adjustment like that. It seems ridiculous to me. And it's got this stupid... This is a 1992 motor. So I'm guessing the mower's 1993 or something. It's got this bail here which turns the ignition off, see the ignition switch there, and applies a brake to the flywheel. Personally, I disconnect all that bullshit. Because every time you leave the mower you got to start. What a fucking stupid concept that is. I haven't tested it for spark. I'm doing things a bit out of sequence because I'm pretty confident that the mower blades are bent, but I want to be able to rotate. See, it's hard to rotate the mower because the brake is applied. And then I thought, well, this breather tube wasn't connected, the fuel line was dodgy, the choke doesn't apply properly, so there's lots of things. So I haven't even checked it for spark. Normally I do spark and then fuel, or in this case I'd probably do the blade first, but I actually can't turn the blade, so yeah, we're doing things out of sequence, but I think it'll be a good mower if it goes. Okay, so I'm still working on Brian's lawnmower. So you can see I've got the blade off, and what I've done is I've put it in my 6-inch Dawn vise. Now, the most important decision I think I had to make was the right side bent up and the left side bent down, or vice versa. I've decided, see how I've marked that side was high. Now, I could be wrong, because who knows. Now, my primitive method of checking this, you see my ruler there, so I've only got one hand. So what I've done is I've put this piece of chipboard, this piece of an old kitchen cupboard from my son, and then I measured, see where my finger is there? I measured from there to there with the ruler, and it was 173 millimeters. So I'm going to whack this from this side with a hammer and bend it out to about 180. So that'll give me 7 millimeters bent down. I wonder if that's enough. Might even do a little bit more, and then I'll see where that brings me. Okay, so I'm still working on Brian's lawnmower. So I've flushed out the fuel line. I've lubricated all of these bearings. I've readjusted the choke, or the throttle cable, so now the choke works. The air gap was fine. What else did I do? I adjusted the throttle linkage up there. I've got the blades in the shed. Needs an air filter, but that can be his problem because I haven't got one here. Now, I spent about 2 hours yesterday straightening the blade. This blade was a real good bit of steel. So now, if you look at my setup, hang on, what can you see? So it's the little, I think I paid $5 for this, hang on, so I think I paid about $5 for that, and it's done me quite well. Now, this was a very difficult job, the most difficult blade I've had to balance, because it's, look at the complex shape of it, because it's a mulching blade, so it's sort of in 3 dimensions. So if you turn it upside down, it's still, or it's in balance as good as I can get it. Now, if I put my finger sort of down here, and then my finger down there, that's close enough for me, and it is in centre this way. And if I turn it upside down, it's a little bit worse, but not much. So now if we come out in the light and have a look at the shape of this, now you can see I've done a lot of grinding there, and I had to take a lot off the back because, to the best of my knowledge, this blade isn't available in America even. So you've got no hope doing it in Australia, and if you could get one, it'd probably be $150 or something. So I've ground the back of it off because I think when Brian hit a rock or something, it's actually bent the blade. Now, I whacked it back to get the tips in the same plane, but between the centre and the tips, who knows? And I've balanced it now, so I think if the tips are in the right place and it's balanced, I think it won't matter if it's a bit irregular, because it's a mulching blade. But because it's a 3-dimensional shape, so if you get it in balance in one plane, it's not in the other. And I don't have the capacity to dynamically balance something, but I reckon that'll be pretty close. And actually, as I said, otherwise it's a throwaway. So all I've got to do, I've done the carby, I've cleaned out the carby. So I think if it's got spark, I'll check if it's got spark, which I normally would do first. If it's got spark, I'll probably get this going today. So, uru. I'm just going for a walk, and I've seen this little swamp wallaby. Obviously got hit by a car, looks like probably an hour ago. It's still got grass in its mouth actually. I don't know if you can see that. I've checked its pouch. It hasn't got a baby. In Australia, if you ever see a kangaroo or a wallaby, or any marsupial for that matter, you've got to check the pouch, because if there's a baby in there, like just because this got hit by a car and the mum's dead, doesn't mean the baby's dead. And if you take the baby, it's called a joey, whether it's a boy or a girl, it's always a joey. If you take the baby into any vet in Australia, or if you take any wild animal to any vet in Australia, they're obliged to look after it for free, and you know, bring it back to health, and then send it off to some rehabilitation place, and then they're released. But these are the sorts of things that you only see in Australia. I'm just continuing on my walk. I'm almost home now. Oh, that's something that somebody might find interesting. Got one of my neighbours, this lady here, she's got her own chickens and ducks, and she sells the eggs. She's usually sold out pretty early, so she sells fresh eggs, eggs and jam. She makes her own jam. So she's got a little shop on the corner here. That basket is where the eggs normally go, and people bring back the empty jars when they're finished, and she refills them, and you leave your money. If you look in here, you know, I don't know, there's about $60 in there or something. So obviously the people, recent migrants from the Sudan, don't live around here. But I'll just continue on my way home. Okay, now continuing on my walk. I'm not far from home now, but I've just seen a wombat, obviously hit by a car. Again, the things you see. Wombats are marsupial. I don't have to check. Oh, here comes a car now. I don't have to check the pouch, because this one is obviously a male. So we've got two cars coming. I'll just get off the road. It's Murphy's Law. I suppose you can see how that happens. It's crossing the road and gets hit by a car. Now I've run over a wombat myself in a 2-ton truck, and they're tough little animals. They're like a tank, and I mean, not run over it with just like the chassis or the bodywork. I mean, the tyres have actually run over it with a 2-ton truck, and the truck bounced over it because they're so tough. And I'll look in my rear vision mirror, and it continued crossing the road. Now, whether it walked into the bush and then died, I don't know, but to get run over by a 2-ton truck and then just continue walking is a pretty valiant effort, I reckon. The other thing that you might find interesting is all marsupials have a pouch, and usually it faces the head of the animals, because these, or if this was a female, it would have a pouch with 2 nipples in it. And because these are burrowing animals, they dig tunnels in the earth. I know they've upset my house foundations, they've dug up roads, they can be a nuisance. But because they're burrowing animals, the pouch actually faces backwards. So, and obviously so that when they're crawling forward, they don't fill the pouch up with dirt and suffocate the baby. So yeah, I thought that might be interesting, but that's a wombat. That's what they look like. Oh, that's a dead wombat anyway. But that might be the only ones you see in Australia. Okay, uru.